Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this exciting episode of Ask Jerry, the Chartered Vendor. I'm your host, Steve Tadzoka, and with me is the man himself, Jerry, the Chartered Vendor. Good evening and welcome, Jerry.
How are you doing, Steve?
I'm well. I'm better.
Time.
It's been a while. I remember I came back. I came during the first recording, yeah?
Exactly.
And now I'm back again. It feels good to be back home. So, right, let's dive into it. Great things happening in the country. This is July. We are now halfway through the year.
Exactly.
In fact, we are now in the second half of the year. So a lot of things happened during the beginning of the year. We saw a lot of people writing down resolutions beginning of the year 2022, and we are now halfway through the year, and people still are trying to work and put the resolutions together to realize the goals that they planned they would achieve.
Most of them, they've even forgotten that they've wrote
exactly. And it's also something that I would like to point out from your book that you wrote specifically how entrepreneurs need to strategize. Can you shed more light on that one and give perspective to those people who still have goals that need to be accomplished as you address that issue to do with strategizing, realizing that we are already halfway through the year?
Yeah, I think just like even sportsmen, if you notice your Tiger Woods, your Lionel Messi, your Cristiano Ronaldo, they spend a lot of time, because people think that they just paid for those 90 minutes, but it's contrary to that. These guys, they work very hard before the 90 minutes. They'll be training off season, and they've got some of the toughest diets. Sometimes they don't even eat sugar. They're not going to drink tea. They don't take coffee. I heard that Cristiano sometimes doesn't even take fried chicken, etc. So what I'm just saying is, as an entrepreneur also, you need to strategize and to plan. And I think if you're going to save your time, it's like when you're chopping, maybe you're trying to chop down a tree. It's better for you to spend much of the time like sharpening the axe rather than you trying to just like right now it's now halfway. You're supposed to now say what happened in the first half. If we're doing good in the first half, you're also supposed to check and see where were you doing good, what were you doing bad. You're supposed to also revise that strategy and see how you can actually achieve your annual goals. Because they're saying maybe you want to turn your company into $1 million company. Maybe you wanted to open about 5 branches, but it failed. So the goals are different. Maybe you wanted to create more employment. Maybe you wanted to donate to charity, but things are actually went the other way. So what I'm just saying is you need to go to the drawing table, find time to say, how can I actually, do you know that many people, they haven't forgotten that we are halfway. They're thinking that we are just cruising, and they'll start thinking about those goals. They want December again to say, no, I wanted to be married, but I didn't. You notice that especially when you get into December, people are pumped up. People, they wanted to be married. People, they wanted to marry in the year, but they failed to achieve anything. And the year, unfortunately, is very, very fast. So what I'm just saying is, we really need to strategize. We really need to plan. But don't waste time in planning and you don't execute. When you have a plan, try to execute and making sure that you are consistent and persistent. I think you've noticed even the way I post on my social media, I try to be consistent, I try to be persistent, because why? It gives me, those small things are going to create a culture, are going to create something in me. It actually gives me room to do bigger things, because if I can post every day, I post about my business, I post about my book every day. Like right now, I've actually started selling the book, because previously I was selling it to people who are around me, my power base, my friends, my relatives, my business partners, etc. But right now, I'm now selling to people who don't even know anything about me. So that's why I'm saying, no, for the next 5 years, I'll be doing those small things. Small things are going to lead to big things.
That's very interesting. So maybe whilst we're still talking about that, when I would like to give perspective, especially with regards to entrepreneurs. You know, entrepreneurs set targets that are set by entrepreneurs. They're usually specific to the dot. I want to grow my capital base to at least 100,000, right? So you'd think, logically, that for you to measure the performance of that goal, right, you'd think that, say, the year's got 12 months, right? You'd want to see a gradual increase, maybe in the tens of thousands, like 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. Then by the 10th month, you already have 100,000.
100,000.
But then sometimes it doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
You can use the first half of the year building up momentum, so that in the last half of the year, you then start realizing that 100,000. So any word of encouragement to people who are not seeing the results from the goals are there, maybe they're clearly written in their offices, and but then they haven't started realizing anything that reflects progress as far as that particular goal is concerned.
Exactly. It usually happens like you want to set maybe goals. You're saying, no, we need to turn our company into $1 million company. We want a $1 million revenue, at least 1 million. Then maybe you started hitting your 60,000, because 60,000 is never going to give you 1 million in the end of the year. Maybe what you need is 75,000 thereabouts. So what I think is you just need to keep pushing. I think if I'm not mistaken, it was Martin Luther King who actually said, if you're not even, it's better for you if you're not running, you're supposed to walk. If you're not even walking, you're supposed to crawl. You just keep moving, because you never know. Sometimes, if you ever notice that small picture whereby you've got a guy who is mining, then he's about to reach where the diamond is, and but he's giving up and he's starting to look at this guy. So that's the problem, especially with our entrepreneurs. Someone in a certain sector is doing well. Like, for example, you look at someone in car and down, then you think this guy is doing very, very well, but in my consultant's business, I'm not doing very, very well. Or you wanted to move you're not moving as fast as you wanted to move. Yeah. So what you just start doing now, you're now going the other side. So what you just need to do is to focus until you cross that line. I'll just compare it to soccer. I think if you ever noticed that if another team scores, you only get out of the soccer pitch in the 90th minute. Why? Because they're saying until the end. Even if you're beaten 9-0, even if you're beaten 12-0, you play until the end. You defend so that they don't score another goal, 13. Because sometimes that is the goal which is going to make you disqualified from the league. So what I just want to encourage our entrepreneurs to say, keep on pushing. Okay. If you think Rome wasn't built in a day, you need to keep pushing. Sometimes you're going to set these targets, you fail to reach these targets. Just keep trying, just making sure that, and also like what you have actually highlighted, to say you want 100,000 in a year. Sometimes in January you start getting 5,000, then you're like, there's no way I'm going to reach the 100,000. And the other mistake is trying to change your target. If your target is 100,000, let it be 100,000. You need 100,000, making sure that you're just chasing for the 100,000. Don't change your goals like you're now halfway through. Then you start saying, no, I think I can now change it to 50,000, because you want to have that comfort that I've hit a target. That target must remain there. If you fail this year, try again next year. Some people have tried several years. I think I've got the other entrepreneurs who have actually liquidated their business, going out of business for more than 7 times, but they're still coming back. Because what is needed is, if you fall down for 9 times, you're supposed to rise for 10 times. That is what is needed in entrepreneurship. Don't give up. Make sure that you just show up. When you show up in the market, who knows? Maybe you've done 5,000 up to November. Boom. In December, you just get a big contract of 70,000. Already you've reached that target. Because sometimes what we are supposed to know is, in business, like what you are planting this month, sometimes you can get the fruits in 6 months. Sometimes you're going to get the harvest in 12 months. So just keep on showing up, making sure that you're always there, you're doing what you're supposed to do, and leave it to the market.
Very interesting. So ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. If you're an entrepreneur and you're also realizing that you're halfway through the year but you haven't really materialized anything towards the goals that you set during the beginning of the year, the goal is to push and keep on working hard. Don't revise your goals. Stick to your targets, stick to your guns. Eventually things will turn out right. So what I want us to talk about is the environment, because the businesses that we operate, the businesses that we run, or the enterprises that we're trying to set up, they exist in an environment, and that environment is called the market. And that market has got different market forces. I don't want to get into the academics of it. We just want to remain realistic on the market forces that we are experiencing as a country, and maybe pass on some comments as we go with our case studies. So I noticed last month we have ZB Bank. They rebranded, and they produced a new logo with a smiley face, very interesting things. And then I opened the paper today and I saw that Zinwa the water authority, is also rebranding, and they also changed their logo. So I wanted to ask you, rebranding, what is rebranding? Because I feel like the call to rebrand would also invoke the change of the logo, as well as the change of the dynamics of how the organization is run, and perhaps the culture as well. Because I think rebranding on the face of the logos, it's like putting makeup. If you apply your makeup, it doesn't change the character within. So what's your take on that one, rebranding? Let's talk about it.
I think I'll be blunt on this one. What I've noticed with most of the organization, big or small, yes, you can rebrand. That's good. Because you're saying, maybe as the board has said, no, we need to rebrand. The marketing executives have said we want to rebrand. But if you look at your Apple, just look at the big companies. Your Apple, has it ever rebranded?
It isn't.
But how many? It's a now $1 trillion company.
Validated.
Okay, we can go to Google. Has it ever rebranded?
They haven't.
They haven't. But it's a what? It's a $1 trillion business. So what I'm saying now is, if we don't rebrand how we are treating your customers, how we are doing your service delivery, I guess that is what is supposed to be rebranded. If yes, you've changed the logo, that's good, that's nice. They've done they're nice logos, I like them. But the question is, have they rebranded their customer service in the bank? Have they changed the way, if they were opening an account in 7 working days, was it reduced now to 2 days because of this new logo? That's where the question is. Have they changed those employees who were actually in the old era, or they are still the new people, the old people who are now in the what? We have just done the cosmetic or the makeup. So I think rebranding works if the company is going to rebrand how they do their operations, how they do their customer service, how their sales people behave on the phone, how they actually behave. Like right now, we're living in a digital age. Sometimes you need to go to Twitter and you have to tag the bank, and they're supposed also to tag the chairman of that bank for you to be saved. But this bank is actually, or this company has rebranded. It doesn't work that way. What we really need to know is, I hope there are not schemes to actually give your marketing agents a lot of money, because they are going to design a logo for millions of dollars. You need to change all your uniforms. There are also millions of dollars which are your letterheads are going to change. So just imagine, it's a big expense to rebrand. So I don't think if they are rebranding their logo, but without rebranding their strategy, without rebranding the way they do things, I think it's a recipe to failure.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're still tuned in to Ask Jerry, the Chartered Vendor. Let's take a moment to get word from our sponsor of the day. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're still tuned in to Ask Jerry, the Chartered Vendor, and we're talking about branding. So yes, let's move on. I've seen a recent spike in the number of armed robberies that are happening within the country. We have people who've lost lives, due to these armed robbers as they are trying to steal from the citizens, from the populace, from the general people. You know, at gunpoint, you lose your phones, you lose your money, your jewelry, a lot of things. I'm not really worried about those ones, but I am worried about the issues that are happening in the corporate space.
Exactly.
Where we are having robberies happening in the corporate space. I'll give you an example.
That's good.
There's a recent well, before we dive to that one, the new one, I saw it in the paper today, the Mashwedi one. There's a guy from Net1. I don't know how he managed to steal money and bought these cars. They didn't figure out that there was money stolen until they did a lifestyle audit. How does this guy afford 6 cars in one go? That's how he was caught. And then we also have a Zimra staff who's also behind bars, said to lose about 1.2 million worth of property that was gotten through EU transactions at Zimra. And then also we have a recent one, the Mashwedi one. There are guys who forged a robbery. They stole $17,000 worth of fuel coupons, and then they faked the robbery. But you know, when you fake things, it doesn't work out. So my worry is they're increasing. Those numbers are increasing of people who are committing these corporate robberies. How best can we as entrepreneurs set our businesses for growth and also prevent such leakages of the resources of the company through systems? How best can we do it now, before then, when we are big, too big to realize that there is some activity going on?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think as entrepreneurs and as SMEs as well, we must appreciate the reason why even these big organizations do audits. I think if what is mostly lacking in most of the organizations is the internal controls. Organizations don't have internal controls, and most of the times the owner of the business is actually the internal control, or maybe his trusted lieutenant or a relative is going to come as an internal control to say, no, I've put my cousin as someone is going to man the safe. That's all. We are safe. I think that's not how we are supposed to do things. We are supposed to be checking each other. We're supposed to create a system which can check, like even if a document is going to be signed by 5 people, there's no way there's going to be leakage. All 5 people, sometimes they cannot connive. But the issue now is having only 2 people maybe signing a document. Only 2 people maybe they are signatories. And also what I'm also noticing in some of the organizations is it's happening where, especially where the owners got total grip of the organization, because when you're in the thick of the things, you're saying it's like when you give someone full responsibility of the money. If the money goes missing, it means that person has got full responsibility. But if you kind of share responsibility to say, yes, we are both responsible if something goes wrong, that's where I've noticed a bigger problem, especially with our entrepreneurs. They are not giving full responsibility to their accountants. They are not giving full responsibility to their finance executives. Hence, they are being taken advantage of because they are also in the thick of the things. They were the ones who actually even authorizing some of these shady deals unknowingly, because they will come and actually say, no, boss, sign here. Sometimes you are busy just to sign hurriedly. Then boom, later on you realize that no, money was already stolen from me. So I think as organizations, as small players, we must start to value even our accounting, to say, start having a question mind, to say, no, we are saying we spent fuel of $1,000 this month, but last month we spent fuel of $500. What really changed? You get it? If you start having that question in mind, it's called, in auditing, they're actually saying, it's called critical, they call it skepticism. Where we're saying, no, let me have a critical analysis to say, oh, these figures, what's wrong? With the revenue of 140,000, but last month we had 40,000. How did you get the 100,000? Or why didn't you get the 100,000 in the previous month? Because sometimes it was your source people were siphoning money. So you need to actually start having questions in mind. Our entrepreneurs, I think it's a must, whether you like it or not. If you're an entrepreneur, you're supposed to know how to read your accounts. You are supposed to know how to read your profit and loss. You are supposed to know how to read your balance sheet. We're not saying be an accountant, just the general knowledge of understanding that, no, I think what is being said here is wrong. These figures, there's something which is wrong. all that is actually needed in an organization.
Very interesting. So yes, I believe that we are having entrepreneurs in the conversation. What I would like you to do is to comment down a story of how you got duped by your employees or by your partner as a small business. So yes, you can always leave that story in the comment section, and whoever writes the most compelling story will do a feature of that story and actually discuss on how you can protect your business against that. And unfortunately, we have reached the end of our program. Thank you so much for listening to the very last second. But before me, you can see we've got stuff that we have on display. Jerry, when is the next conference that we can look forward to?
Yeah, we've got a seminar on the 29th of July in Bulawayo.
Okay.
Shout out to our sponsors, London Tande. They're doing very, very well, supporting us. And if you want real internet, if you want internet which works, even right now, we are here and we are screening because of London Tande. So the next is the 29th of July in Bulawayo at Cresta Hotel. We're going to have a Southern Souls convention. Don't miss it.
Definitely. So what then happens when somebody is out of the country and they can't attend? I'm seeing we've got DVDs here. How much do they sell?
We're now recording everything, and they've got CDs. We are recording everything. I think they're going for about $50 each. I think we've recorded all our sessions on those CDs, and you can actually get them at our offices, or you can get them through my website.
Very interesting. You know where to find us. Same place, same time, all the time. Take care of yourselves. I've been Steve and he's been Jerry. See you next time.
Thank you.